First up with Insidious. It's about a family who moves into a new home, and soon after their son falls into a coma following a mysterious incident in the attic. Medical professionals are perplexed as to what is actually wrong with the boy, and we eventually find out that a demon has latched onto the boy and is trying to essentially drag his soul away, weakening it enough so the demon can take possession of the boy, and his parents must find a way of defeating the evil to get their son back. So this is a movie that I feel like after I'd watched it, which was probably not long after it came out on DVD, I kind of wish I had saw it at the theaters, because it's one of these more modern movies that I actually find to be quite chilling, quite terrifying, which is something I can rarely ever say for movies you watch as an adult, whether they're old or new, but especially new movies. It's one of those movies that does tend to give me, some maybe raised hairs on my arms, and I think it has some really clever scares in the actual movie. It's quite a dark movie at times as well. It's also got some really unique, unnerving, winding type of music that plays. And that always helps add to it.
I actually haven't seen this movie in total today. So it's been out for 9 years, and I've just never seen it until earlier today. And to be honest, I wasn't overly impressed with it. I thought it was okay, but given the amount of hype and the amount of individuals, even horror fans, who I know really like this one, I was just somewhat disappointed. I think a lot of this, I think Chuck is right that some of the scares in the movie is somewhat clever. I thought quite a bit of this was just sort of generic jump scare following generic jump scare, and I feel like most of them, if you've seen enough horror movies, you can sort of see coming a mile away. I mean, I liked many of the performances, and I actually thought the story itself was pretty unique, especially toward the end. But overall, I just I was expecting a bit more from this, especially given all the positive things I've heard about it. A lot of this just didn't necessarily do it for me. And I also thought the conclusion about the final, 2 minutes was extraordinarily Hollywood. And it just didn't do much for me. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie, but I was hoping for something else. Not to deflate you.
Well, see, the thing is, I think expectations may play a big part in that, because, see, I saw the movie, I actually didn't even really hear a whole lot about the movie, but, just as I was watching it, of course I knew the movie existed, someone reviewed it on our forum at one point, but I didn't really follow a lot of the discussions about it. I didn't really know anything about it or what to expect. So I just went in watching a movie that I didn't think was either going to be good or bad. I just didn't know, and ended up really enjoying it. And I think the even more important thing is that, we've got all these movies now, like the Conjuring universe. We've got all these movies that's in that kind of franchise that actually borrow and copy a lot from Insidious. I think Insidious is actually the original movie out of all of those. And I know you haven't really seen a whole lot of the Conjuring stuff either. You've maybe seen the first Conjuring and that's about it. But I think all those other movies slightly have a negative impact on this movie just because they've borrowed so much from it, and we're starting to get a little tired of those things. But if this was a standalone movie without the sequels, without the Conjuring universe, I think it would be viewed as an even better movie than it probably is.
Well, I would say I think the movie, at least based on what I've read, is pretty decent ratings with both horror audiences and mainstream audiences. So, I mean, I'm not sure how it did in the theaters when it came out, but, I mean, I certainly have heard mostly positive things about this one.
I mean, like you were saying earlier about the ending, I'm not sure if you're talking about right before the credits or if you're talking about when they kind of rescue the boy.
I'm actually okay with the rescue scene. I actually thought that was somewhat unique, and to be honest, leading up to that, I was thinking it would probably play out worse than it did, but I thought it was okay. It's actually just the last few minutes with the scary plot twist that, pretty much anybody could see coming.
Well, I mean, I'm not so surprised at kind of what was coming there, but I still think it was a really good ending. I actually preferred it the other way around. I thought the rescue scene was a little... I mean, I didn't really have any problems with the demon itself, which I think some people tend to bring up saying, it's a bit stupid, but I just thought it was simply, okay, I found my boy, I'm just going to run back, and it just felt like a little rushed or undercooked, or they kind of ran out of interesting ideas to kind of bring the boy back.
Well, I'll say my problem with the rescue scene, and it's not necessarily a big deal, but, there just other... I don't know if you call them ghosts or just individuals in this dimension. And they just sort of pop up next to the guy and smile creepily, and like I don't know, it just seemed like a lot of things I can imagine would scare an audience. But I'm just sitting in my apartment and I'm just watching this, and I'm just not getting anything from it. I actually like I don't know if the character has a name, the sort of rat-faced demon. When he's saving his kid from that, sort of demon's down type thing, I actually thought it was pretty cool. Especially, the demon is sort of like up there listening to music, just shopping in his class, and just, I know, I sort of like that. It has almost sort of like almost like a Nightmare on Elm Street type vibe, almost. I'm not sure, but I sort of liked that. But some of, the other parts of the rescue, like, I don't know, like the family that was killed by that one. I don't know. I just didn't get much from a lot of that.
Well, I mean, probably my favorite part in the movie, I think, is when it's roughly about midway through the movie where they're showing the photos of this character just getting a little closer and closer to the boy in the photos, and I don't know, just something about that character, such a mysterious, dark. I mean, we don't really know too much about that character, at least until the sequel, which somewhat ruins the character to a degree, I think, because one movie mistake we see happen is that sometimes movies tend to over-explain something, or
yes.
They should just leave it mysterious, and which I think is why if you watch this movie and then don't bother with maybe the sequels or anything else in this kind of Conjuring type universe that they've created as an offshoot, I think as a standalone movie, I just find it really creepy.
Yeah, I do. I do agree that the photograph sequence is decent. I guess my main problem with that is, I think as soon as the family moved houses, and we were introduced to the Patrick Wilson's mother. I forget what her name is in the movie, but as soon as we're introduced to her, I sort of feel like we get pretty much the idea that something happened to, Patrick Wilson's character back when he was a kid. I mean, it's, pretty. I mean, to me, watching, it's sort of obvious that, hey, the mother knows something and she's not saying it. And when it finally comes up, that the kid, Patrick Wilson had a past with the same type of thing. Just, I don't know. It seemed to me like they were trying to make it be a surprise, but it just, I don't know, it's not a thing that, I don't know, it didn't work that well in my opinion. I mean, the pictures themselves were cool, but sort of leading up to that, I just didn't feel much. Maybe I'm just extraordinarily cynical.
I guess that's the thing with movies. Everyone has different tastes and value different things in movies, and
yeah, I value good movies. To any Insidious fans, I apologize.
Yes, you gave Cardiac Arrest a 5 out of 10.
If it makes you feel any about it, this movie is going to get a higher rating than Cardiac Arrest. So.
Well, it better.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to sort of reiterate. I actually liked the idea behind the story. I just don't think the execution worked out as good as I sort of hoped it would. I thought there were a lot of really creepy scenes throughout the movie. I mean, I think some of us know some of the more, I guess, well-known ones.
Now that I think about it, I probably should mention Lin Shaye. Her character in the movie is quite good. I mean, she as many people know, is the sister of the guy that owns New Line Cinema, whose first big movie was A Nightmare on Elm Street, and she's in Nightmare on Elm Street.
It's funny in that too. I actually, as soon as when I was watching the movie, I recognized her face. I'm thinking, where do I know this woman from? And it turns out it's from A Nightmare on Elm Street. So
Yeah, I mean, she's been in tons of things now, and especially a lot of more low budget type horror movies. She just pops up everywhere now. But I was just going to say that it's kind of nice to see an actor who's quite an aged woman now being a centerpiece of a very popular type of horror movie franchise, I guess. Even though the sequels, that I don't think any of the Insidious sequels are bad. They just kind of lose steam as they go on. You've seen one, you're kind of getting a little tired of the formula, I guess. But her character's still always quite nice to see on the screen.
I also want to mention that it is nice. Patrick Wilson's. I feel like he's a somewhat well-known name. I think a lot of people know him from The Conjuring, but he's probably one of my favorite movies. Howard Candy from back in 2004 with Alan Page, and it's just sort of nice seeing him. I don't know, sort of continue doing a pretty good job. He was by far one of my favorite characters in the movie. Followed by like Chucky mentioned, what's her name? But yeah, so yeah, so I just sort of like seeing Patrick Wilson again. So
yeah, I find the movie to be quite creepy. I think it's got some terrifying scenes, some really unique, unnerving type of music, with a very interesting, creepy ghost type character, if you will. The demon itself is also somewhat intriguing, but doesn't get a whole lot of screen time. Yeah, there's so many good scenes in the movie for me, but I guess the only thing that prevents me from giving it a perfect rating is that I think the movie just loses a little bit of its steam at the end when they're trying to rescue the boy, and they're kind of running around in a very foggy type environment. There's not a whole lot going on. They're just running kind of around, and I don't know, I just felt like they could have done a little bit more just near the end there. But I give the movie a 9 out of 10. I really, really enjoy it. And I tried to not let the sequels, and especially the Conjuring universe, affect my enjoyment of it, even though I think over time it does slightly a bit.
yeah, this movie, like I said, I haven't seen it until today, and I was sort of, maybe hoping for a bit more. To me, a lot of it just felt like almost generic jump scare. There were some original, interesting scenes in there, some more subtle scenes, but a lot of it, I was just sitting back like, really, is that supposed to do anything for me? I know, I think Insidious had potential, but it wasn't able to be executed in any way to reach that potential. I would probably give Insidious, I'll probably give it a 5.5. I'll probably round up to a 6. So I know I definitely see this as a below average movie that had potential, but it just didn't quite make it.
Get the fuck out of here.
I know. It's I know. That's not actually the biggest disagreement we'll have tonight either. So there's something to look forward to.
Oh no.